Looking for the perfect happy hour to unwind after a long day at work? Look no further than Walter's Indoor-Outdoor Happy Hour, catering to everyone who lives in and around Navy Yard. $5 happy hour options include salmon sliders and house red wine.
Every day is a chance to move forward, so why settle for gear that holds you back? Roan delivers technical fabrics that breathe, stretch, and adapt, keeping you sharp and comfortable. From work to workouts, Roan's advanced fabrics fight odor, keep you cool, and move with you. With wrinkle-release tech and a tailored fit, you'll always look as good as you feel. Upgrade your wardrobe, because when your clothing performs, so do you. Roan. Performance apparel fit for progress. New customers get 20% off your first order at Roan.com with code ROAN20.
Now the 1-0. Swing a little dribbler, passed him out. Cruz breaks for the plate. The ball by the pitcher, and they will get nobody out. Abrams is safe at first. Cruz scores. It's 3-0 Nationals.
Finnegan kicks. He delivers. Swinging a fly ball right field toward the line. Long run for Cruz. Can he get there? He dives. He can. It's a fair ball and goes by him. He's up at his feet. Has to chase it. This is going to clear the bases. And all the way to third is Vientos. And the Mets plate 3 on the play. 4 runs home for New York. And it's now the Mets 4, the Nationals 3. The pitch. Swing by Cruz and a drive in the air to deep right center field. This is way back. Warning track at the wall. Leaping is Soto, and he can't hang on to it. Cruz around second, heading for third, and he'll be in there without a play. The tying run 90 feet away as Cruz sends Soto to the wall in right center, and he could not hang on. Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball, base hit up the middle, into right center field. Cruz scores, and the game is tied. It's a 3-hit game for Jose Tena.
Surprised that Alonso's going to play behind the runner. That's the winning run.
3 balls, 2 strikes. 2 out. Abrams can go. Minter sets. There he goes. The pitch. Swinging a ground ball toward the middle. McNeil can't get it. Into center field. Abrams heading for third. He's going to try and score. Tanner's throwing home to the plate. He'll slide the tag. He is safe. He is safe. A curly W's in the box. On a ground ball single up the middle by James Wood. With a runner going on 3-2. After Dave Jagler said, why is Alonso not holding the runner? That's why he scores all the way from first on that. And the Nationals are mobbing James Wood.
And welcome to Nats Chat. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. Mark Zuckerman is off for this installment of the podcast, but I'm pleased to be joined by the man who runs the podcast, Tim Shovers, and we are coming to you off perhaps the Nats' best win so far in MLB's 2025 regular season, in which the Nats now are 2 games below 500 at 12-14. Friday evening, game 1 of a big 4-game series against the Major League leading New York Mets at Nationals Park. The Nats beat the Mets 5-4 in walk-off fashion, a 5-4 walk-off win to end the Mets' 7-game winning streak. The Nats in this game blew a 3-0 8th-inning lead, but then overcame a 4-3 ninth-inning deficit by scoring 2 runs in the bottom of the 9th. High drama at Nationals Park. What a game. What a night. This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by Mason Kalfas, the top legal recruiter in Washington, D.C. Mason has been with us since our first season. You can reach him at 202-486-3535. Heroes for the Nats on Friday evening. There were many. The short list includes James Wood, Dylan Cruz, C.J. Abrams, and Jake Irvin. And Tim, you think about those 4 guys, 4 key guys in the rebuild, all shining on Friday evening. A great night at Nationals Park.
Al, this is a tremendous night at Nationals Park. I mean, just young guys in core parts of the rebuild all over the place. Jake Irvin, an important part of the future of the staff, dominant for the most part in his 7+ innings until the 8th inning. Dylan Cruz, 3 runs. C.J. Abrams manufactures a run in the 9th inning that I don't know how many players in baseball could have scored on that play. And obviously James Wood is the one with the go-ahead hit at the end in the bottom of the 9th. You couldn't draw it up much better than that for an average Friday night in April.
No, you could not. I mean, Friday night was a jam-packed night in Washington, D.C. sports when you think about the Commanders doing as they did on what was day 2 of the 2025 NFL Draft. You had the Capitals playing Game 3 against the Montreal Canadiens in what ended up being a wild game in Montreal. A Caps loss, unfortunately. Caps still up 2-1 in that best-of-7 first-round series in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But the Nats coming through with the highlight of the night, what they did in that bottom of the 9th inning. So with the Nats in this game, they're facing a Mets team that came into the game with not just the best record in the majors this regular season, but also the best team ERA in the majors this regular season. That the Nats put up 5 runs against this Mets pitching staff is no small feat. The Nats for this game, 5 runs, 13 hits, 2 walks, 3 for 9 with runners in scoring position. The 13 hits, 2 triples, and 11 singles. The Mets starting pitcher for this game was Kodai Senga. He came into the game with an ERA of 0.79 over 4 starts this regular season. He was good in this game. He allowed 2 runs in 6 innings, but point being, the Nats were not overwhelmed by the Mets pitching in this game. The Nats were able to have a more than respectable offensive outing in this game. James Wood, he is the Nats starting left fielder and number 2 batter, 2 for 5 with the walk-off RBI single. Also had another single, but Wood in that Nats 2-run 9th, a walk-off, full count, 2-out RBI single up the middle, and off Mets second baseman Jeff McNeil, despite having been down at 1.02. A tremendous plate appearance by Wood. And you mentioned it, C.J. Abrams flying around the bases to score the game-winning run.
I couldn't believe my eyes that was turning into a run. I mean, he was over the way at first. That ball made it into the outfield, but didn't go that far. The Nats were the beneficiaries of Tyrone Taylor playing a no-doubles defense in center field, and then his throw hit the mound and bounced in. So that's really the big break right there. A better throw by Taylor, and he gets Abrams. Perfect slide by CJ right there. And just what a great job by the Nats to hang in there after it seemed like they blew the game in the top of the 8th. And then they're in the bottom of the 9th. Took advantage of not facing Edwin Diaz. Ryan Stanek's on the mound, their backup closer. And when things got tight, he didn't come through, and James Wood and CJ Abrams did.
It's one thing to score from second on a single. It's another thing to score from first on a single. And in this instance, Abrams scored from first on a single that was like a pseudo infield single. You know, like it was a single up the middle, went off Jeff McNeil. It was not technically an infield single, although there is no technical definition of infield single. But that Abrams scored on that play is such a credit to his speed. What a job. And the way he slid into home and he gets up and we get the light show at Nationals Park, it was just such a visual to conclude that game. Abrams for this game as the Nats starting shortstop and number 1 batter, 2 for 5, RBI triple and an RBI infield single. He also had a stolen base. Abrams in a Nats 1-run third, a first pitch RBI triple off the top of the center field wall for a 2-0 Nats lead, and Abrams in a Nats 1-run 7th, a 1-out RBI infield single to the right side of the infield for a 3-0 Nats lead. And he had to steal a second base. So Abrams' speed in this game standing out not just in that 9th inning, but also in that Nats 1-run 7th inning. Now, also in that Nats 2-run 9th was a leadoff full count opposite field triple by Dylan Cruz. Cruz in this game as the Nats starting right fielder and number 7 batter, 3 for 4 with the triple. Also had 2 singles, a Cruz in a Nats 1-run second, a 2-out single into left field, and then he hustled into second base on the throw. And Cruz in that Nats 2-run 9th, like I said, leadoff full count opposite field triple. This came on a deep fly ball that our old pal, Mets right fielder and ex-Nat Juan Soto, failed to catch. The ball went off the glove of Soto. Look, was not an easy play for Soto to make, but when you're getting paid the kind of money that our guy Juan is getting paid, that's a play that you certainly would like to see that player make. Soto did not make the play, and the result was a key triple and what ended up being a 2-run 9th for the Nats.
I've said it before in this podcast, I don't think Juan Soto's a good fielder, so I wasn't surprised that he didn't make the play. With Cruz, fantastic evening, but that run in the 2nd inning, he really manufactured that run. He made that run himself, hustling into second base, putting him in the scoring position. It sort of was reminded me of Bryce Harper, his rookie year, one of the only years that he actually hustled out of the box. And so that was great to see there. And Cruz, obviously just one game, but tonight, Dylan Cruz looked like the second pick of the draft.
He did, and he's been a lot better lately. I think this is a very encouraging trend from the last, week or so, that Dylan Cruz has gotten going, and he's making an impact. And in this game, to your point, he absolutely made an impact. And it wasn't just these guys who came through in this game. We had Jose Tena as the Nats starting third baseman and number 8 batter, going 3 for 4 with 3 singles, including 2 RBI singles. He did get thrown out in an attempted steal of second base. We had Luis Garcia Jr. as the Nats starting second baseman and number 5 batter, going 2 for 3 with 2 singles and a walk. He did get thrown out in an attempt to stretch a single into a double. That actually was a rough moment. Bottom of the 8th, Nats down 4-3. Garcia, a 1-out single to right center, gets thrown out in a try to stretch the single into a double. But here would be the point. I mentioned the Nats totaling 13 hits in this game. Abrams 2 hits, Wood 2 hits, Garcia 2 hits, Cruz 3 hits. The overwhelming majority of the Nats' offensive production in this game came from the young players, came from the nucleus, Abrams, Wood, Cruz, Garcia. Just so good to see that. And some real standout moments. We talked about Abrams scoring the game-winning run. You had Wood with the walk-off hit. You had Cruz with that big triple. Just a lot of feel-good moments, encouraging moments. It's been such a tricky rebuild. This season so far, I think, has been tricky to sort of figure out what exactly do you have here in this Nats team. Is this season going to be the step forward season? Is this season going to be the bust out of the rebuild season that this franchise so desperately needs? A night like Friday night makes you think yes. A night like Friday night is such a morale boost for both the team, but I think also the fan base.
I agree with you. The Mets came in with the best record in baseball, had won 7 in a row. Clearly they have a squad this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do in this 4-game series, an early test of where they stack up against the best team in the NL East. And, with that, obviously Soto comes here. And you mentioned those young guys, Al. C.J. Abrams hitting first, came across in the Soto trade. James Wood hitting second, came across in the Soto trade. Gore started on Thursday night. Hard luck loss, but came across in the Soto trade. So for those who were upset in August of 2022, why that trade happened, you're seeing it here in 2025. I know it took a long time, and as you said, it's been a very tricky rebuild, but I thought tonight, small sample size, really showed where this rebuild, I don't want to get too carried away here, but you see some of the positive outputs of the rebuilding efforts in the past few years.
And to the point of something I said, which was it's going to be really interesting to see how the Nats offense does against the great Mets pitching. One game into this series, we see the Nats offense do just fine against this Mets pitching staff. Hey, are you a law firm partner or associate looking to transition to a new firm because of compensation, or your firm recently committed to $100 million in pro bono work that you disagree with? Or maybe your firm is employing people like Jurix and Profar while your competitor firms are using torpedo bats and smoking the competition. If this sounds like you should explore the lateral market and give Mason Kalfas a call. Mason is the top legal recruiter in the Washington, D.C. area. He has been a Nats Chat podcast advertiser since the beginning of our show. Mason will work with you to create a marketing and business plan to pitch to new firms and dramatically increase your compensation and or day-to-day happiness in your new job. Mason has placed partners and associates in just about every large law firm in D.C. and New York, and he can provide plenty of testimonials from candidates he has placed on the outstanding service that they received. You need a strong advocate in your corner to find the best law firm out there for your future career. Call Mason Kalfas today, 202-486-3535.
Every day is a chance to move forward, so why settle for gear that holds you back? Roan delivers technical fabrics that breathe, stretch, and adapt, keeping you sharp and comfortable. From work to workouts, Roan's advanced fabrics fight odor, keep you cool, and move with you. With wrinkle-release tech and a tailored fit, you'll always look as good as you feel. Upgrade your wardrobe, because when your clothing performs, so do you. Roan, performance apparel fit for progress. New customers get 20% off your first order at Roan.com with code ROAN20.
Here comes Irvin's 1-0. Swinging a line drive. It's a sprawling stop by Lowe. No, it's caught in the air. He'll throw to second. That should be a triple play. Now he's going to throw to first, and that'll be a triple play.
Yes.
That's going to be a triple play. He caught it in the air. The runners ran. It's a triple play. Lowe threw to second. They got the out there as he made the catch. They threw to first, and that forced out the runner, Vientos. This should be a triple play, but there's all sorts of confusion, and now the Nationals are going to leave the field. They have a triple play.
So the Nats offense came through in this 5-4 walk-off win over the Mets on Friday evening, and Jake Irvin again came through. The Nats starting pitcher in this game was really good once again. Jake Irvin on Friday evening officially allowed 1 run in 7 1/3 innings. He gave up 5 hits, all of which were singles. He issued 1 walk. He recorded 4 strikeouts. He threw a ton of strikes, 98 pitches, 69 strikes versus just 29 balls. Jake Irvin was coming off a very good outing. He in the 3-2 win at the Colorado Rockies this past Sunday in Game 1 of a doubleheader, allowed 2 runs in 6 1/3 innings with 9 strikeouts versus no walks. That outing was off what he did in the Nats' 3-0 win at the Pittsburgh Pirates on April 15th. 7 scoreless innings with 6 strikeouts versus 1 walk. It's easy to forget that things had not been going so well for Jake Irvin. All of a sudden, this guy's having a really good season. Jake Irvin now, in this regular season, 6 starts, ERA of 3.19, whip of 1.01. Awesome to see that from Irvin. And we, on Friday evening, had a triple play during Irvin's time in the game. He threw a scoreless top of the 4th thanks to this triple play. Irvin, with runners on first and second and no outs, induced a liner off the bat of ex-Nat Jesse Winker. The liner was caught by first baseman Nathaniel Lowe for 1 out. Lowe then threw the ball to shortstop C.J. Abrams at second base to double off the runner at second for the 2nd out, and Abrams then threw the ball back to Lowe at first base to double off the runner at first for the 3rd out. What confused the Mets was that the liner that was backhanded by Lowe looked as if it may have hit the ground. The ball did not hit the ground, at least according to the umpires, and so we had what goes down as just the 3rd regular season triple play by the Nats since the franchise moved to Washington, D.C., and the first ever regular season triple play by the Nats at Nationals Park. This was not only a walk-off win for the Nats, we had a triple play in this game.
We had a triple play. The Nats got out of the inning. They got the victory, but it was a bogus triple play. I watched SNY tonight. I enjoy their broadcast. Ron Darling referred to it as that. I have to agree with him. The ball, I thought, live and on replay, clearly hit the ground. I was confused what Lowe was doing. He was on top of it, though, in terms of the umpire's call in making that triple play. But the umpire should not have called that a fair ball, a live ball, and I don't understand why it's not reviewable. If we have replay, I don't understand why something that could be so easily solved by replay can't be reviewed. However, though, from a Nats standpoint, it was super fun and exciting. If you were at the game, you saw a triple play, a major league triple play. How cool. But a bit of an asterisk on that one, though, Al. I do have to be honest.
Well, it was confusing in the moment because it happened and the Mets didn't seem to know what was going on. But I credit the Nats in this regard. They played out the play and they made it a point to operate as if everything was kosher and that the triple play could be had. And so kudos to the Nats for going through and doing as they did. And, you know, they're not the ones umpiring the game. So the things broke in their favor. Okay. But we had a triple play in this game. And like I said, Jake Irvin is on a roll right now. You know, you think about this Nats pitching staff. I brought this up on the last installment of the podcast. Yes, the bullpen has been really bad. The starting pitching has been good. And right now you have Mitchell Parker, Mackenzie Gore, and Jake Irvin all rolling. All of those guys are in really good places, and that's good. That's really good. Like I said with Irvin, he was not off to a good start to this regular season. You weren't quite sure what to make of that, but he's gotten going here over these last few starts. Now, I mentioned the Nats bullpen. That was the negative for the Nats in this 5-4 walk-off win over the Mets on Friday evening. 3 Nats relievers combined to allow 3 runs in 1 2/3 innings. Jose A. Ferrar, he officially allowed 3 runs in 1/3 of an inning. He had what ended up being a 4-run 8th for the Mets. Faced 4 batters, but got just 1 out. He gave up a 2-out single by Juan Soto to center field on a 1-2 pitch. He issued a 2-out walk of Pete Alonso. and gave up a 2-out RBI single by Brandon Nimmo up the middle to cut the Nats' lead to 3-1, despite Nimmo having been down at one point 1-2. Then Kyle Finnegan came into the game, and he ended up registering his first blown save chance of this regular season. Finnegan faced 2 batters but got just 1 out. He came into the game in a tough spot, no doubt. Top of the 8th, bases loaded, 2 outs, Nats up 3-1. But Finnegan, to the first batter he faced, gave up a 2-out, 3-run opposite field triple by Mark Vientos to right field on a 1-2 pitch for a 4-3 Mets lead. Now, the ball was hit to no man's land near the right field foul line. It's not like this was some, wickedly hit ball off the outfield wall, but contact was made. Finnegan did not get the strikeout on the 1-2 pitch, and the ball got by right fielder Dylan Cruz in his attempt at a diving forward catch. So the Nats blew that 8th inning lead, but they come back to win the game, and I will give credit to a Nats reliever. Jorge Lopez ended up tossing what ended up being a crucial top of the 9th. Lopez, a perfect top of the 9th inning. So that was good, but we saw Jose A. Ferrar, who can be great, but also can be not so great, again be not so great. And we saw Kyle Finnegan put another runner on base, and in this case, it was a killer, a 3-run triple to give the Mets the lead in that 8th inning.
For those of you who missed the game, this was 2 different games. The first part of this game was the first 7 innings, and then the second part of this game were the final 2 innings. Jake Irvin threw 94 pitches through 7 innings, and I thought, okay, he's probably done. They'll go to Ferrar in the top of the 8th, Finnegan in the 9th, and we'll go from there. Irvin comes back out, bottom of the order. McNeil's up. He's the 8th hitter, and it was 3-0. Nats are rolling, 6 outs to go. McNeil gets that leadoff single, and you knew right away that this could be trouble. There are a bunch of lefties coming up. Ferrar gets warm in the bullpen, and before you know it, it's Lindor and Soto in the top of the order. I thought Ferrar, listen, he gave up 3 runs technically. I didn't think he pitched poorly per se, but obviously he didn't get the job done. And for Cruz on the diving play on the Vientos triple, I don't know what the right move is by Cruz there, because if he stays upright, that's probably a double and the game might be tied, because I don't know if the runner scores from first, even though there were 2 outs, and later C.J. Abrams scored from first base. But I don't blame Cruz for laying out there. Live, it looked like he was well off. On the replay, it seemed like he was a bit closer than initially I had given him credit for right there. And then also to your Jorge Lopez point, I mentioned I was listening to SNY. Gary Cohen, the play-by-play guy, had a lot of fun with glove jokes, and Jorge Lopez, we've been talking about him a lot, of course, with the Pittsburgh stuff from last week, and the Mets announcers have not forgotten the Jorge Lopez era in New York.
Yeah, Jorge Lopez throwing a glove into the stands last season and then getting cut by the Mets. I think if you're Cruz, you do make that diving attempt, and you just hope like heck that you get there, because to your point, if you don't dive, then you're still looking at likely an extra base hit. There was a good bit of bad luck on that play just to where the ball was hit. Like, he was hit to one of the worst spots in the ballpark, that shallow outfield near the foul line. You know, whether you're talking right field or left field, that's like one of the worst spots in the ballpark for a ball to be hit from the standpoint of a pitcher or, you know, for a team that's out there in the field. You know, and Cruz is capable of making a diving catch like that. He just didn't. I think what was unfortunate was that he doesn't make the catch, and then it takes a while to get to the ball. The ball gets by him, and, you know, it took some time for him to retrieve the baseball. But the Nats do come through with the win. It really is remarkable, though, this disparity that we now have between Nats starting pitching and Nats relief pitching. You look at the numbers for the regular season here. The Nats have a starting pitching ERA of 3.41, which is terrific. That's top 10 in the majors. And, you know, you go into this season, you absolutely sign up for a starting pitching ERA of 3.41. But the relief pitching ERA remains the worst in the majors, and by a sizable margin, 6.89. Just such a major gap between starting pitching and relief pitching here. But I think a really encouraging trend in recent days has been just how good the starting pitching has been, because it hasn't always been the case this season that the starting pitching has been at a high level. It now is. Like, quantifiably speaking, the Nats have had some of the best starting pitching in the majors this season, and I think, you know, it's time to acknowledge that.
All the starting pitching statistics, especially the recent ones that you just cited, to me are more important than them being 12 and 14 in the standings. This rebuild's not going to work. if Jake Irvin and Mitchell Parker and Mackenzie Gore don't come through. So when Irvin pitches well against a top team, and not just 6 innings, but he goes 7+, that is so encouraging. However, to your point, the disparity with the bullpen, this is going to be a problem the entire season. There's only 2 arms that you count on right now. They desperately need that third arm. It'd be wonderful if Jorge Lopez had more outings like he did this evening. That would change a lot of things. And fortunately for the Nats, they won this game because they used all their top bullpen arms tonight. They didn't pitch multiple innings, but still, if you had thrown out there Ferrar, Finnegan, and Lopez and lost with, a stretch of no off days for a while, that'd be starting the series off on a very bad foot.
I've brought up how the Nats have had really bad bullpens before. You think about 2017, 2019. The thing is, the Nats in those seasons had really good starting pitching. And it's funny, so far this season, you say the Nats do have really good starting pitching. Now, I don't know that this staff is going to end up being what we had in 17 and 19 in terms of the starting pitching. But again, statistically speaking, so far, we've had the kind of starting pitching that we grew accustomed to in 2017 and 2019.
LinkedIn Jobs are here to help small businesses make those crucial hires. Now, if you're in a big business, like let's say you're a general manager of a baseball team and you want to improve the bullpen, you could go to baseballreference.com and look up Adam Ottavino and Drew Smiley. But if you're a small business, you probably need LinkedIn Jobs. Here's how it works. Post your job on their new feature that can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people with deep candidate insights. Get qualified candidates. At the end of the day, the most important thing to your small business is the quality of candidates. And with LinkedIn, you can feel confident that you're getting the best. And finally, Nats Chat is here to help. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/NatsChat. That's LinkedIn.com/NatsChat to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply.
Every day is a chance to move forward, so why settle for gear that holds you back? Roan delivers technical fabrics that breathe, stretch, and adapt, keeping you sharp and comfortable. From work to workouts, Roan's advanced fabrics fight odor, keep you cool, and move with you. With wrinkle-release tech and a tailored fit, you'll always look as good as you feel. Upgrade your wardrobe, because when your clothing performs, so do you. Roan, performance apparel fit for progress. New customers get 20% off your first order at Roan.com with code ROAN20.
The 0-1 pitch. Ripped in the air down the left field side towards the corner, towards the pole, and it is off the pole and a home run. Off the fair pole, House hits his 4th home run of the season as he just kept it from going into foul territory, and it's 6-1 Rochester.
Quick update from AAA as Rochester routed Buffalo 8-1 on the road. As you heard there, Brady House hit his 4th homer of the season. He's hitting .304 so far with an OPS of .877. And also checking in on Robert Hassel III. He hit 7th playing center field. He had a double. So far, he's hitting .239, and his OPS is a meager .579. Now back to the show.
Here's Abrams, pitch to CJ, swinging a long drive, left center field. Taylor going back to the warning track. He leaps at the wall, can't get it. It's off the top of the wall, rolling into straightaway center, picked up by the left fielder Nimmo. Young racing around third. He's headed home, and standing at third with a triple is CJ Abrams. Nats lead it 2-0. First hit for Abrams off the injured list is a triple off the very top of the left center field wall, scoring Young from first.
So game 2 of this series against the Mets, Saturday afternoon at 4:05. Brad Lord will be the Nats starting pitcher. Game 3 of this series is Sunday afternoon at 1:35. Mitchell Parker will be the Nats starting pitcher in that game. And game 4 of the series, Monday afternoon, 4:05. Trevor Williams will be the Nats starting pitcher in that game. This is the rare 4-game series in which 3 of the 4 games are afternoon games. And among those who will be in attendance at the Sunday afternoon game, one Tim Shovers with his wife and 10-month-old daughter. You have made the decision to take your 10-month-old daughter to a Major League Baseball game. Are you prepared for all that entails?
Not only am I prepared, Al, I've been looking at the Metro maps. I saw the Grosvenor stop is closed. I got to drive to medical center. My wife and I are so excited about this. Really, I am so excited about this. I've been looking forward to this day. I don't want to say my whole life, but kind of close. And if you see a grown man crying on TV in the stands, Al, on Sunday, you'll know it's me.
Well, we last Memorial Day weekend took our kids to a Major League game. We were in Pittsburgh, so we took them to a Pirates-Atlanta Braves game at PNC Park. And my son at the time was 6. My daughter at the time was 3. And I would say by the time that we got to about 90 minutes into the game, the kids were about ready to go. Now, we ended up staying until like the 7th inning, maybe the 8th inning. We were there like 2+ hours, but there definitely was a time at which they were ready to go. Pitch clock or no pitch clock, the kids were ready to go. I think what you have working for you, though, is that your daughter is so young. Is she going to necessarily be able to express that she is ready to go before you are wanting to go? I'm guessing probably not.
Well, either way, I think we'll figure out when it's time for her to go. I have a feeling we'll know, just like Davey knows when it's time to pull the starter. But I will have to say, if she's still in the ballpark when the 7th inning comes and she's doing take me out to the ball game, something's gone wrong. I think we're going to be well gone. I'd be surprised if we make it to the 4th inning.
All right. Well, good luck, man. That's awesome. Shovers, the clan, including the 10-month-old daughter, will be in attendance at Nationals Park on Sunday afternoon. That's terrific. This installment of the Nats Chat podcast brought to us by Mason Kalfas, the top legal recruiter in Washington, D.C. Mason has been with us since our first season. You can reach him at 202-486-3535. You can reach us on X at Nats_chat. You can find us on Blue Sky at Nats Chat Podcast, and you can email the show, natschatpodcast@gmail.com, including if you would like to sponsor the program, and also if you would like to send a shout-out to someone who you care about, hit up Tim, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. We have a website that we invite you to check out, natschatpodcast.com, in which you can purchase a Nats Chat Podcast t-shirt. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Tim Shovers, I'm Al Galdi. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
Cruz facing Senga for the first time. Outfield swung a bit the other way toward right in the pitch. Swinging a ground ball past the diving third baseman Vientos to his left and through the hole into left field for a base hit. And the ball missed. Cruz going to try for second, and he will make it. As Nimmo slow to come up with it, and it only took a hair of a second. And into second base goes Dylan Cruz.
And I don't know why Nimmo threw the ball to Vientos, the third baseman. That is a heads-up play by Dylan Cruz.